song pumps you up? What song, no matter the mood that you're in, can flip it? You can be having a bad day, but once you hear this song, you realize that your day isn't so bad after all. Maybe for you, it's the song Eye of the Tiger. It's the Eye of the Tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Or maybe for you, it's the final countdown, right? It's the final countdown. And then in your head, you go, ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Or maybe it's the stomp, stomp, clap from We Will Rock You, right? It's the pa, pa, pa. And you know that, like, you hear this and you're like, what hill am I going up, right? What city are we conquering now? Or maybe for the millennials in the crowd, you hear T.I. come on where he says, bring them out, bring them out. Or maybe it's DJ Khaled that says, all we do is win. Or maybe you're the follower of one of the greatest philosophers of all time, where she tells you to shake it off and shake it off. What song is it for you that no matter what you're doing, it can flip your mood? Actually, that because we read one of those songs for the Old Testament people. We read Psalm 122. And that was a psalm, a song for them that no matter what they were going through, they could flip their mood because they knew what was to come. So this evening, we're going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to put up my iPad here up on the screen, and I want you guys to follow along here. So this is the time, grab your bulletin out, grab the Bible in front of you, get a pen. You can hit that second slide there, and we're going to walk through this reading here, kind of verse by verse. Okay, so if you want that Bible, grab it. It's okay to write in it, follow along. That's what Bibles are for. We mark them, we read them, we inwardly digest them. Follow along in your bulletin as we look to walk through this text together. So the very first time that you kind of read through something, you want to make sure you know where you are. So to be Captain Obvious, we are in the book of Psalms. Now, the book of Psalms in the Old Testament is the prayer book of the Bible. It is the hymn book of the Bible. Just like songs center our time, we've sung two of them already, the Psalms center the Old Testament worship. The Old Testament, and specifically the Psalms, is said to be able to encapsulate all of the human emotions. The roller coaster, that is the highs of highs and the lows of lows. We are in Psalm 122, which is pretty deep in the book of Psalms. And in this, it is a psalm of what's called ascent. Now, ascent obviously means that you're gonna go up a little bit here. Now the question is, where are they ascending to? They are on their way to worship. We're going to read through the psalm. You're going to find out that they're on their way to Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem, what you need to know is that Jerusalem is about 2,500 feet or so above sea level. Columbus is about 600. Okay, so we got a little ways to go. Like you thought that it was hard to walk from the parking lot into church here. Try working those hammies and working those thighs and being out of breath by the time that you get up to worship. I was trying to think through, like, how do I help visualize this for people? Like, what is a good reference mark for 2,500 feet? And I was like, what can I use in Indiana that's somewhere around 2,500 feet? Spoiler alert, nothing in Indiana is anywhere near 2,500 feet. Indiana's so flat. The closest thing that we have is in the Hoosier National Forest, and it is 1,200 feet. So climb to the highest part of Indiana, double that, and you're about to where Jerusalem is. This is a song that they would sing while they would be walking up the mountain as they were ascending into Jerusalem. It's a song that they would sing together. Now, this is a song or a psalm of David, and that's going to become important as we look to see exactly what's being talked about. So verse 1 says this, I rejoice, that's a big word, with those who said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. A couple of things pop out to us. Number one, this is an exciting time for them. They are going to rejoice, or another kind of word that we can use to sum up verses 1 and verses 2 is the word eager. They are eager to go to the house of the Lord. This is a check your heart moment. What was your attitude coming in to worship? Eager? Rejoicing? Glad? If I'm asking you to check your heart, let me check mine too. It's not that I wasn't glad to come into worship, friends. I was. But glad is such a strong word. It's like 7:30 at night. You know what makes me really glad at 7:30 at night? Like being on my couch, being done for the day, kind of relaxing. That makes me glad. But here, God's people are excited. They are eager. They are rejoicing with those who said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. This word here, rejoice, is the same word that's used in Psalm 50 when David is praying for God to restore to him the joy of his salvation. That joy in this rejoicing is that same Hebrew word. There is a joy in Jesus. There's a joy in salvation. There's a joy in going to the house of the Lord. Now, this house, as they are going, what you need to know is that this is a communal thing. This is an us thing. It's a together thing. This isn't me and Jesus time. This is me and Jesus and everybody else time. We're singing this together in unison as they are going up the mountain, getting ready for worship. They are eager to go up the mountain. Now, what's interesting is that between verse 1 and verse 2, there's like this break in time. I don't know if you realize this, but in verse 1, they are excited to go, right? They're excited to go. Verse 2, all of a sudden they're there. Our feet are standing in your gates, Jerusalem. It's as if David has kind of jumped some. It's as if David is imagining that they're finally there, because that's what everybody wants to do during a workout. They want to imagine that they're finally done. They want to imagine what is to come. They are excited. Their feet are standing in your gates. And this is where we get the key that Jerusalem is where the house of the Lord is located. Now, the house of the Lord is located there because the presence of God is located there. Usually when we read this, we automatically think that the house of the Lord is either one or two things. We either make the modern day jump where we say this is the church, or we think back to Old Testament, we say, okay, this is probably the temple. But what's fascinating, remember I said it's important to remember who wrote this? David wrote this. Who was the one that built the temple? It wasn't David. It was Solomon. So the temple isn't here yet. So this is, in some ways, David talking about either the Ark of the Covenant or the tabernacle. But in some ways, David has a foot in the present and a foot in the future. Right? Verse 1, he's in the present. Verse 2, he's in the future. Verse 1, sure, it could be talking about the Ark of the Covenant, right? The tabernacle. But do you know who made the plans for the temple? It was David. David had the opportunity to kind of think forward about what this whole thing could look like. So he's writing the psalm, the song, to say, man, this is what people are going to be doing. They're going to walk up. They're going to be glad when their feet are standing in Jerusalem. Verses 1 and verses 2, they are eager to be in there. Now, starting at verse 3 and kind of going all the way to verse 6, there's another E that they are here to do. They are coming expectant. They get to Jerusalem and they are expecting things. Let's see how this unpacks. In verse 3, it's going to start talking about what Jerusalem is like. Jerusalem is built like, this word like, this means simile. This means metaphor. We'll come back to that. Jerusalem is built like a city. That is, what is those words? Closely compacted together. When something is closely compacted together, it is, I would say, it is united, right? There's a unity in those things. They all come together. There is no division. There is no separation. There are no factions in the city of Jerusalem. This place where the house of the Lord is closely compacted together. There's unity there. Which is interesting because verse 4 then comes in and says what? That this is where the tribes go. And they're the tribes of the Lord. Now, when there's tribes, what does that mean? Tribes are usually there when things are not connected, right? When there isn't much unity. This comes after they enter the promised land. And when they're in the promised land, all of the land gets separated between the 12 different tribes. When they go into the land, the one community that was living together for those 40 years, all of a sudden gets its separate acres of lot of property that they can kind of build on. And they can have their life on. They're separated. But in this joint effort of climbing this mountain, they come together to praise the name of the Lord. There's a word for this. This is an action. This is called worship. They're climbing for worship. What you and I are doing right now, these people did so long ago. All of this, says verse 4, according to the statute given to Israel. The question comes, when did God give the statute to Israel that the tribes had to come together, united, and walk up this mountain to worship? A lot of it can be found in Exodus chapter 23. Now, the rest of the beginning of the books of the Bible kind of look to unpack that a little bit more. But there are specifically three times when the people of Israel are supposed to go up to Jerusalem. They're the three feasts. They are the feast of the Passover and the Feast of Weeks, which ultimately we end up knowing as Pentecost, and the Feast of Booths, which also can be called Tabernacle. Okay? So these three different feasts had kind of three different roles. The Feast of Passover is kind of the one that's most common to us. This is when they spread the lamb's blood on their doorpost so that when the angel of the Lord, this is when we learn that I may be okay at putting words together, but I am not an artist, friends. That was supposed to be an angel right there, right here. Here's the angel, okay? It's flying this way, okay? Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. This is the angel. This is the angel passing over the blood that's on the door frames. Now, the Feast of Weeks is them celebrating, giving thanks to God for the first fruits of the harvest. The Feast of Booths is them getting praise, giving thanks to God for the final fruits of the harvest. They're to come together at least 3 times to go up the mountain to worship together. It's a unity thing. And when they come expecting things, expecting 2 things. 1, judgment, and 2, peace. When they come to worship, they expect judgment and peace. Let me ask you, did you come in to the house of the Lord this evening expecting judgment? My guess is probably not, or at least not the way that you're thinking of it. As we look to this idea of judgment, what we can say is that we are eager for God's judgment because it's already happened. You have been judged. You were judged on the cross of Christ, where Christ bore your sin for you. So when that final day comes, the verdict for you will be innocent. That lovely angel is going to pass over you. Now, this judgment happens because there is somebody sitting on the throne in the house of David. This is Messiah language that would come to be. Because this is where God would look to David in 2 Samuel and say, I am going to reign on your throne. I will abide in your house forever. Judgment comes when God reigns on the throne of David forever. But they're not just looking for judgment. They're not just expectant and excited and eager for judgment. They're also looking for peace. Because that should be what happens in the presence of God, right? That there should be peace. Verses 7 through 9 here, this is going to go on to describe what this peace is going to look like. It says, may there be peace within your walls, in security within your citadels. Look, that all of the peace is within Jerusalem. It's on the inside of the city. For the sake of my family and my friends, I will say, peace be with you. Remember at the beginning of the service, we said, go and pass the peace? Here, in Psalm 122, we're saying to each other, brothers and sisters and companions, peace be with you. And for the sake of the house of the Lord, I love this, seek your prosperity. For the sake of the house of the Lord, I will seek your prosperity. This is what we are to do for our neighbors. You who come here and worship, when you leave this place, when you're here, you go out, you're inside, there's peace, there's righteousness, there's justice, there's judgment, it's good. And when you go outside of the walls, you go out looking for your neighbor's good, helping your neighbor prosper. Now, I would be remiss if we stopped the interpretation there. Because my guess is that nobody, or not many, are going to ascend to Jerusalem in the next couple days. Unless you have a trip planned to the Holy Land anytime soon that I don't know about, my guess is that you're not going to climb up that mountain to Jerusalem in the next couple of days. But we are in the season of Lent, aren't we? And there is a mountain that is of the utmost importance in the season of Lent. And it is what we would come to know as Mount Calvary, is it not? Where there are 3 crosses, but it's the one in the middle that we zero in on. And this mountain could not be climbed together. This mountain is not a communal thing. This mountain is a Jesus thing. And you know what Jesus says about it? He says, I rejoice that I get to climb that mountain for you. He is excited that I, says Jesus, get to go to the house of the Lord. The house of the Lord is the house of the Lord because the presence of God is there. So on Good Friday, where did this house move to? This house moved to Mount Calvary, where Jesus bled and died eagerly for you. But I told you at the beginning, David has 1 foot in the present and 1 foot in the future. It's the same thing here because there is this question. There's this question throughout this whole thing about Jerusalem. I said it's a simile, it's a metaphor. Jerusalem was supposed to be this place of peace. It was supposed to be this place of justice and judgment. But when Jesus comes on the scene, he laments over Jerusalem. He cries for it. Why? Because it was Jerusalem that killed the prophets. The city that was supposed to be that upright one shining, the city on the hill to be the example for the nations fell short over and over and over again. But what David is teasing out is that there will come a heavenly Jerusalem. And this is the book of Hebrews. It calls it the city of God. And you know what's so cool about that is that the city of God is united. There is unity in heaven where there is no division, there is no separation, there are no factions. And the book of Revelation tells us that it's full of tribes of every tongue, of every race, of every language, going up, united finally to do what? To worship. Because it's full of the people who death passed over. Because we had the blood of the Lamb on our door frames and on our life. What song is it for you? What gets you flipped from the days terrible to the days not that bad? Let it be Psalm 122, where you come eager, expectant, and engaged in worship. Come soon, Lord Jesus.